Welcome, everybody.
How are you?
Okay, very good. So this was in a piece, I think, all you sent me from Design Hotels Further Forecast, and it said, hotels that offer transformational or out of the ordinary, in quotes, experiences will be better positioned to succeed in what the report dubs the age of awe. So are we in the age of awe? So I just want to start opening question for all three of you. As consumers to continue to seek out unique, memorable, and awesome experiences, how can travel and travel-related companies, card companies, kind of get in on the action and take advantage of this trend? So I think we'll start. Yeah, Lindsay, you
go for it.
Sure. Ready to go?
Okay, I'll get started. So we know from extensive consumer research that choice hotels isn't always the star of the show when it comes to the trip, right? So we tend to play in the mid-scale, upscale space, and so often, there's a lot more to the trip than the hotel itself. Of course, the hotel is important. But so at Choice, we've really looked at experiences as well. So one example is we've partnered with local college football and basketball teams to provide VIP experiences for loyalty members, and that's been a really big hit for us in terms of experiences.
Yeah, so, I do believe we are in the age of awe. Now, we've been here for a while now, but amazingly, as I listened to the conversation earlier about tech and AI and everything else, the processing power needed to actually deliver magic has always been elusive in terms of all the things we have to focus on with the guest experience. And delivering, I think hotels have a special ability to deliver experiences, and now we have the tech capability to actually take it further. And so I think every product company in the world imagines the situation where a customer would show up, put their suitcase down, and put on their casual clothes and hang out in your product for a while. They'll go to the gym, they'll put on their jammies, and they'll get in bed and enjoy the evening in your product. Can you imagine as someone who sells product what that would be like? We have that. And so most companies have gotten really good at having stores like Nighttown or whatever else. That's an invention that's been in the hotel space forever. This ability to actually encompass the product or have the product entirely around the customer, and then infuse that experience with other things. And so now the opportunity is taking tech, knowing the customer better, and delivering great memories and things that will be emotive that they'll remember forever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jen?
Yeah, I love that phrase, the age of awe. It is really, it really resonates with me. And I think the really great news for travel companies and travel brands is you have a very passionate, engaged, excited customer base who is willing to tell you all of the things that they love about your products and love about travel, and also all of the things that they don't. And when we got into the travel space a couple of years ago and really sat back and said, hey, what's important to us as we enter this space? What are the types of experiences that we need to deliver to actually really go out and compete for the hearts and minds of our customers? We spent like a year talking to them and just understanding, hey, what works for you? What doesn't work for you in the travel environment? What are the things that you love about your current travel experience? What are the things that you don't? And they told us a ton. The good news was they were very willing to talk to us. The bad news was we needed to really rethink the end-to-end travel journey that we were delivering and kind of build from the ground up. We had the luxury of doing that during COVID, which, I know for a lot of people in the travel industry, that was a really, really challenging time. For us, we had the benefit of really building our business during that time and building towards where customers were going. So things like a modern end-to-end travel journey that gives customers flexibility and certainty that they're getting the best price, lounges that could be an oasis in the airport in times where there was a lot of uncertainty about returning to travel. And I think we all know airports can be a little bit of a chaotic and stressful experience. And travel partnerships and programs that were oriented towards the way people were planning to travel in the future with our Premier Collection and our Lifestyle Collection.
Can we bring up the slides? I know we had a few slides and just wanted to go through because you talked about, customer, you're talking, it's kind of a broad word. So how do you define the customer, and then how do you define the experiences that are going to resonate for your customer? Do you do it by, is it slicing by family versus business versus leisure? Are you looking at it by sports versus cooking versus adventure? There's so many ways to do it. So let's talk a little bit first. And well, here we have, let's start a little bit with what Choice is doing.
Well, this is what I mentioned about partnering with college sports and basketball teams to provide VIP experiences. But to your point, not everyone's a sports enthusiast. So we do look at passion points. Somebody could be a foodie, or they could love to go hiking, they could love to go skiing, they could be a concert enthusiast. And so everybody has different passion points, and we do leverage those when matching with the recommended experience.
Can we go to the next slide? Explain what this is.
So this is actually cell phone data. It is anonymous, so we're not tracking at an individual level, cell phone usage, but we are able to see in the masses when people stay at our properties, where are they visiting? What experiences are they going to? And that allows us to really provide those as recommendations on the website, by the search terms, and so on. So essentially leveraging data to provide a smarter recommendation.
Okay. And do I need to be in the loyalty program for you to identify me?
We're following best practices on, guest identity resolution, but we are leveraging artificial intelligence that allows us to go beyond the loyalty program with identity.
Okay. How are we using data over at Hilton? You got a little data?
I'll say, to the question you asked earlier in terms of segments, it's all of the above. And data, no doubt, but listen to the customer is where it's at. And I think listen to the customer when they're staying with us as well, right? So not just monitoring them when they're, what they're searching for online and so on, but as we listen to our customers, our best customers, as they travel with us, what do they need? What are they looking for in the time they're staying with us, and then beyond their stay with us? That's made a huge difference. And so what we find is, around experiences particularly, a lot of customers say, well, there are things I've wanted to do my whole life. There's a music event, there's a band I've followed my whole life, I've always wanted to see. And so getting to a place now where it's beyond just a tour or an attraction, but it's the kind of expeditions, the kind of adventures, these lifelong things you've always wanted to do, the things that you'll talk about with your grandchildren, the thing that they will talk about they did with you as a parent, or the friends did together, right? And so it's all about memories. And so you dig into the data differently, you engage and have the conversation differently when it's about lifelong memories, not just I'm trying to get the next transaction.
Mm-hmm. And is that through Hilton Honors? And do I need to be like a top customer to get access to some of these experiences?
You have to be a top customer to end up singing on stage with Bruno Mars, maybe. There's some special experiences, or getting into an F1 car with Lando Norris, maybe. Those things are for those top flight customers, and some of you are, so thank you very much for loving us. We love you back. What I will say, though, is that our goal is to make these special experiences democratic, but focused on you. And so can we make it such that we target the folks who tell us what's interesting to them? And yes, it's easier when you're in our loyalty program, but we talk to all of our guests. We value and love all of our guests, and our goal is to ensure that everyone can talk about the time when they went to a certain resort and they went fishing and caught the whatever with their cousin or brother. That's the mission.
Great. Yeah. And can we go to the next slide? So what are some of the things that you're doing over at Capital One? A little different approach than hotels. And obviously you have these airport lounges everywhere. How many are there?
I'm looking forward to seeing the DC lounge, by the way. I'm watching.
The DCA one, the landing, yeah, we're excited about that too. Dulles just opened. I don't know if you've been there yet, but it's beautiful. So we have 3 currently open with several others in the pipeline. I think one of the things we really learned when we were, as I talked about in 2019, 2020, kind of going through what is our travel strategy, what are the places where we really want to be differentiated and build something in a differentiated way, was just the importance of lounges in that end-to-end travel customer journey. We have a little bit of a different perspective on our customers as a credit card company, and sort of the opportunity to serve that kind of full end-to-end from the booking all the way through the travel and then their stay. And lounges were a place that were just like a highly motivating feature for cardholders and prospects, something that was so important to them. But when we went into this space, we wanted to do it in a way that would stand out from the crowd, that we weren't just sort of creating a facsimile of what was already out there. And so we said, hey, what are the things that are working for customers and not working for customers in the current lounge journey? We learned a couple of really important things. One, people travel differently now than they did 10, 15 years ago when many airport lounges were designed. You know, they're not always traveling solo for business. They're traveling more with friends. They're traveling more with family. They're blending their business and leisure travel. Two, even if they only have 15 minutes, they want a great experience. And so we have pioneered this grab and go experience that's in all of our lounges that allows you to come in, get something great and healthy to eat. We say no sad salads a lot across our team. You know, visit the facilities, freshen up whatever you need, or be on your way. Or if you have longer to spend, you can actually go further into the lounge, have a great meal. We really aspire to create a hospitality experience that is not just good for an airport, but that you would be excited about if you walked into you know, a bar or restaurant at a great hotel that opened in your neighborhood. And we brought people from the hospitality industry into our team to actually create and build that experience.
Next slide, just for fun.
Wow, yeah. So we have this amazing partnership with Team McLaren. And for those of you who might be in Vegas this weekend, the Hilton activation is going to be absolutely out of this world. And luckily for us, Team McLaren's been doing really well lately. They've podiumed quite a bit. And so this is the experience that we want people to have with us. If you're a sports fan, certainly you may love football, soccer, or you love motorsports and Formula One. And we fundamentally want to also make sure people connect with us around youth sports. And so we want to make sure there's something for every passion point, but we want to go really deep. And again, here, some of the experiences that we love is watching people talk about, you know, well, I took my son to see the Silverstone event and loved the fact that we got to meet, you know, some of the drivers. And so I think very much we want to lean in on that and keep leaning in. It's going to be always that. We want them to say, not only Hilton for this day, but my gosh, 20 years from now, I was there and Hilton made that possible.
I think that's you know, just that connection between, you know, Hilton and between Formula One, you know, and you know, Choice and, you know, football and, you know, Capital One. Just it's not something, you know, naturally when you think of hotels, you know, you think of kind of that on-property experience. So it really is kind of changing the mindset a little bit of your customer to really think about your brand outside of the box, like literally outside of the box. And yeah, that's what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, but I would actually push a bit on that, Lorraine. I'd say hotels have always been base camp for adventure. And when you get in trouble when you're traveling, how many of you automatically just call a hospital or something else? You actually go back to your hotel and ask for help, whether it's the concierge or someone else. The truth is, not only base camp for adventure, but it's the embassy away from home and everything else. And so we've always been there. I think we're just amplifying our role and making sure it's more available to more people, not just the frequent travelers who know what to do.
Yeah. So now how do you, so again, back to that now personalizing bit. So can we use AI? Are any of you using AI to kind of match experiences with people?
Yeah, we are, and I love this question because when I started my career at Disney in 2006, I was downloading massive amounts of data onto my, you know, desktop and doing complex joins and spending weeks making one model that would live indefinitely, you know, as a static model, and that was innovative at the time. But here we are almost 20 years later, and you know what it's really about is ensuring the data at the guest level is consumable. And that way, you know, you can let the machine doing the heavy lifting. It's available on demand for any product that you want to plug it into.
Yeah. And you're matching, able to kind of match?
And to provide recommendations, for experiences or anything else.
Yeah, great. What about Hilton?
Well, I think in many ways, so I love saying machine learning. The AI term makes me uncomfortable a little bit because the machines aren't fully self-aware just yet, and that's a good thing. But in some ways, it's making sure we can actually do more without needing 1,000 data scientists, right? And so that's always been the challenge in the lodging space. How many data scientists can you hire? Can we compete with Google and Amazon? Love you guys. But we can't compete with them for data scientists, right? And so in many ways, machine learning and the advances in this space allows us to finally be able to sort of pour that kind of capability into our commercial and strategic intention the intention was always there, but you necessarily didn't have all the capability to get what you needed.
Yeah. Jen, Capital One.
Yeah, I
A lot
would
of
say
data.
we're doing a lot of exploration in the AI space. Nothing concrete to talk about just yet, but I think there is really a lot of exciting potential for how AI will transform, the travel inspiration and booking experience. There's been so much desire for so long to really create that connected end-to-end digital experience across the industry that I think we've all sort of struggled to figure out how to fully realize, and I'm excited to see what AI will offer in that space.
Yeah, and I want to ask you too, because it's been a trend that financial institutions, card companies have been offering travel, like partnering, either with Hopper or Booking or Expedia for content and offering a platform for the customers to book, which makes a lot of sense. Get them to book on the platform, use the card. And we see MasterCard is doing it, Citi as well, and basically I think almost every major financial institution is somehow involved now in selling travel. And some might even, like Chase, looking at even sourcing it themselves, some of the content. You, of course, work with Hopper, have investment in Hopper. So can you talk a little bit about what the strategy is for Capital One in terms of booking, in terms of the journey, how that relates to experiences and...
Gosh, that's a big question. I think for us, we have always taken a perspective of customer first. Like, what does the customer tell us that they're interested in? What does the customer tell us that they're excited about? What does the customer tell us that we're doing or not doing to serve their needs? And travel was clearly a huge passion point for our cardholders, not just the segments that we were serving at the time, but segments that we wanted to serve. Capital One is a relatively young company. We were founded around the same time as Amazon and still founder-led. And so we have retained that very customer-first, innovation-led mindset since our inception and since our founding. And when we think about strategy, we're always trying to, as our CEO says, skate to where the puck is going. And it was very clearly, the data and customers were very clearly telling us that it was going to a place in travel that was going to be requiring a modern tech stack, end-to-end capabilities. The consumers were going to want things like price confidence and flexibility in their booking. They were going to want great experiences within the airport. And so really, we started building towards that destination. And I think it's been really exciting to see the response. And I firmly believe we are just getting started, and there's a long way to go. The other point that I'll make, I know you talked a little bit about financial services companies and traditional travel suppliers, is that our customers tend to be younger and a bit more brand agnostic than maybe what you traditionally think of as travel loyalists within the space. For a lot of them, were their first premium travel credit card. They're sort of starting to dabble in the loyalty game, and from our point of view, it's a great end game if a customer comes into travel via Capital One Travel and their Venture X card, they experience a great hotel brand, and they develop a loyalty and affinity for that brand. And over time, they transition into being more of a brand loyalist. We're happy to make that connection to them, and we really see our business as incremental and complementary to what the travel industry is doing, and we're very excited about that.
Yeah, but a different approach to loyalty than the brands.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We want more of them in Hilton hotels, by the way.
Well, we can make that happen. Let's talk.
Okay. ROI, so how do you figure out if this is all working?
Wow. Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am the data person. I'm just kidding.
So what does your data tell you? How do you match? How do you say, okay, providing experiences, a certain type of customer is interested, and now that customer, are they returning, back to stay at the hotel, or is it just they saying good things about you on review sites? How do you measure that success of your efforts?
Yeah, I think that there's, many phases where you're getting updated reads, but the most immediate read, I do believe, is in the form of feedback that the customers are providing. So that could be in the form of a survey or a social review or a call to the call center. And luckily, with natural language processing, we can digest all of that very quickly and understand the feedback. After a few months, and it's probably different for every business life cycle, you start to see indicators such as a repeat visit or downloaded the app, forms of engagement that give you a sign that this is working, we're on the right path. But ultimately, customer lifetime value is the KPI that we'll be looking for. It just takes a while for that to pan out.
Okay. And Oral?
Yeah. certainly all those things I think are critical. The return customers and their engagement and the intent to return is the big stat. But for us, we've taken a very specific turn over the last several years into content production and making sure that we are telling great stories along with our customers. And I think the most powerful thing that other customers experience, because other customers don't see the data about a specific customer's intent to return. What they see is the story you tell about the time you were with us. And
is it social media? Like, where are you putting?
It's social. It's a short, long-form video, and so it's all the available new channels, right? And so, getting away from linear television and telling stories in other forms across all the different channels, TikTok, everything else. It's simply a new world where the engagement is multi-touch, and the stories and the content is what's powerful. And so, yeah, the data points matter. But we think it's incredibly powerful when someone's telling a story over and over and they want to tell the story about us. And so it's less, my grandmother used to always say, self-praise is not a recommendation. And so it's always better when someone else is telling your story.
Yeah, that's a great point. Just to build on that a little bit, I mean, I think we measure all of the traditional business KPIs, like how many customers are using our products, like are they returning, what are their net promoter scores? But to me, to Oral's point, some of the best indications of whether what we're doing is working is like in the brand love that we're sort of creating for the business. And just to tell a story of like anecdotally of how this has shown up in some places for us. And one of my favorite stories, we recently opened our lounge in Denver. It had been a bit delayed. Construction in airports is challenging even in the best of times, and COVID supply chains certainly lengthened the timeline beyond what we had initially hoped. But when we opened the door, we had a line of 20 people waiting at the bottom of the escalator, waiting to come in. And the third or fourth guy who came in ran up the escalator, and he was so excited, and he was like, I love my Venture X, I love Capital One, this is like the best thing ever. And so just the opportunity to create something that drives that type of response and engagement with our customers is really special, and I think a good indication that we're on the right track.
So I guess we have time for one question. And I know someone was asking about supply, which I guess maybe briefly, can someone just answer that question about supply? How you're getting supply? Do you want to talk about that?
Our focus is on deep relationships with individual providers, and then the unique experiences that our hotels offer. Our hotels, and many of them have their own unique content. I think the one I love talking about, because I love Las Vegas, is our Resorts World hotel there.
So you're reaching out to you have unique content.
Bringing that forward.
You're not just like plugging into some other supply chain.
It has to be mostly unique.
Yeah.
What's the point otherwise?
Yeah, unique content as well. Unique.
I think we have a mix of unique and aggregated content. We have, with our Premier and Lifestyle collection, so our luxury travel programs, we have taken the approach of really intentionally curating those properties and really helping people discover great boutique hotels, great properties that you might not otherwise have the chance to hear about.
Okay. And one more thought real quick. Innovations that are coming up. So just name what's the next innovation, Jen?
Oh my gosh, well, you'll have to wait and see. There's lots coming up. Like I said, we're just getting started. I think, we continue to be really excited about the opportunity and the growth in the travel space, and there's certainly lots
You were
more to
just
come.
being in travel to begin with and building what you're building.
Yeah, we're doing a lot.
Yep.
Like Jen, I can't tell you. It's a secret.
The secret. Okay, Lindsay?
Yeah, I think innovation in the travel space is definitely ripe for huge growth. In my specific area, I'm looking forward to the day where somebody's sitting at their desk and say, here's what I'm looking for, and the dashboard will appear with all the right filters.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Okay, Lindsay, Jen, Oral, thank you very much.